Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about temperature and thermometers. Today on our very last day in the month of April the 30th. Tomorrow the calendar will look very different because we will be starting a new month. And I will go in and let you know that tomorrow, May the 1st, is May Day. So please remember that for May Day tomorrow, you will need a tin can or 2 or 3, depends on how many gifts you want to make. You'll need a tin can, you'll need a hammer, nail, and some kind of pretty ribbon or pipe cleaner or wire to make a handle because we're going to be making baskets. Ollie and Huckleberry say good morning to you too. They are barking and making a loud racket. So first things first, we are going to do a little reading about thermometers and about temperature today. You are going to need your journal because we're going to be doing some listening and you're going to be doing some writing, some spelling. We're going to try to be clapping some syllables in these words we're listening to in our book. And then after we do that lesson, we're going to start our thermometer experiment. Right. So I'm reading out of a book called Weather Words by Gail Gibbons, and we've been using this book a lot over the past couple of weeks. And today we're going to be reading the page about temperature. Before we read, what do you know about temperature? What would be your definition of the word temperature if someone were to ask you, Nettie, what is temperature? I don't know what that word means. Or they might ask, Tatum, I'm confused. What is temperature? What would you say to those people? Give them a definition. This is what Gail Gibbons says is the definition of temperature. The temperature goes up and down. When the sun rises in the morning, the air temperature becomes warmer. And when the sun sets in the evening, the air temperature becomes cooler. The temperature also changes with the seasons. In the summer, the sun is high in the sky. And so if the sun is high in the sky in the summer, what kind of temperature can we feel in the summer? The days are warm and the days are longer. The sun is in the sky for a longer amount of time, so it gives it a chance to warm up the air. But in the winter, the sun is low in the sky and the days are shorter, so the sun does not have as much time to warm up our air, so we feel cooler temperatures. And then I want to flip back to the first page. This is a good explanation of temperature. Temperature is what happens when the position of the sun changes. So the position of the sun in relation to the earth, or where you are on the earth, is what causes temperature to change. The weather is made up of temperature, air pressure, and how much moisture is in the air and how fast the wind is moving. We haven't really talked a lot about air pressure. We've talked a little bit about moisture, but we've talked about the wind, and we've definitely talked a lot about clouds and water and what happens in the water cycle to cause our rain and our storms. Now I want you to factor in the sun and how the sun affects the temperature, either outside or in your house. If you're at the beach or if you're in the mountains, all of those places will have different temperature. Okay, so get your journal ready. And I want us to syllable clap the word temperature. And after we syllable clap temperature, you can break down that word into those syllables, listen to the syllables, and then try writing the word temperature in your journal. So when we syllable clap, we clap out the different parts of a word that you can hear, okay? So I'm going to clap out my dog Huckleberry's name. Huckleberry. Huckleberry. Huckleberry has 4 syllables. I'm going to clap out the word Kentucky. That's our state. Kentucky. Kentucky. Kentucky has 3 syllables. Now I'm going to clap out the word temperature. And then you are going to listen to each of those syllables, and then you are going to practice writing the word temperature. 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 Do it one more time. Temperature. Sometimes breaking words down into their syllables helps us figure out how to spell it. So clap the word temperature really slowly and try to listen to all the sounds in each of those 3 syllables in that word. Temperature. Temperature. Okay, push pause and take a minute to write that word. So since we're going to be making a thermometer today, let's syllable clap the word thermometer. 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 That word has 4 syllables in it. Okay, so listen to the sounds you hear in each syllable and then write that word in your journal. Thermometer. Okay, so syllable clapping is a fun game to play. You can syllable clap everyone's name in your family, or syllable clap every single vegetable that's growing in your garden and tally up how many words have 2 syllables and 3 syllables or just 1 syllable, and do some syllable clapping today. All right, so we've done our syllable claps, we've done some writing practice. Now we're going to make a thermometer. So for this experiment, you're going to need water, you're going to need some kind of Play-Doh or clay, you're going to need an empty clear bottle. I used a Gatorade bottle. You're going to need rubbing alcohol, and you're going to need a straw. Now, ideally, you would have a clear straw. I didn't have a clear straw at my house. I have a green straw, and I have this orange straw. I think the green straw will work the best because you can kind of see through it. A clear straw will be the best since you can see into the clear straw. But I'm gonna see how this green straw will work because I can kind of see through it. So, to make our homemade thermometer, we will need to pour water about halfway into your jar. And then you're going to need to pour rubbing alcohol about another halfway up into your jar. And rubbing alcohol should be done by your parents because rubbing alcohol is, I don't know if you would really consider it poison. Yeah, it's probably poison. That means that you can't touch it, you can't drink it, and so your mom or dad or babysitter need to do this for you. Now, if you had a clear straw at your house to do this, then now would be a fun time to add food coloring. But I don't have a clear straw, so I'm not really gonna worry about the food coloring. Okay, so the next part is when we are hopefully going to be able to see the thermometer work. So what I want us to do now is I want us to make a prediction. So in your journal, when you put the straw in the jar and you're going to make it stick or stay in one place with the clay, then I want you to predict what is going to happen to the rubbing alcohol water that is in your jar, okay? Is it going to stay the same? Will it go up the straw? Will it go down the straw? All right, make a prediction. What's gonna happen? And then let's see what happens. Okay. Clay out. So you want to make a seal with your clay on the top of the jar so your straw doesn't fall down into the jar. Sticks in one spot. And so your straw is not touching, also not touching the bottom of the jar either. My clay is super messy. Okay, so let's see. All right, the water has not done much in my jar. It's stayed the same. Now, what do you think might happen if I took my jar outside? If the air temperature is different than the air temperature inside right now, what do you predict might happen to the alcohol and water if you take this thermometer to another place where the temperature is different? Let's go outside and see. So I don't know if you can see this, but since I have gone downstairs to go outside, the water and rubbing alcohol in my thermometer has actually changed. Do you see how it has gone up in the straw? Now I'm inside right now, and my inside is pretty warm. So now I'm gonna take us outside. Let's see what happens, if anything happens. Oh my goodness, you guys see? It dropped right back down into the bottle. So let's go back inside. Wow. Oops. Let's go back inside and watch what happens when we go back inside where it is warmer. Give it a little bit of time to warm up. The other thing that we could do, let me put it back down. Stand by, we're gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna go downstairs and I am going to do another experiment with this thermometer. So we've seen what happens when it has a chance to warm up, and we've seen what happens when you go outside somewhere cooler. Oh, it's happening, it's happening. I don't know if you can see it, but it is rising up into the straw now that it's warmer. One really cool thing you could do is go to your kitchen, see how it's rising up in the straw, is you could go into your kitchen and you could heat up some warm water and stick your thermometer in the warm water and see what happens to the level of the water and alcohol. So what is happening right now is the water and the alcohol, when it is warm, when things are hot or when things are warm, it expands. And so when it is expanding, it's making it go up into the straw. But then when it gets colder, like when you go back outside and things cool down again, it's going to fall back down because it's constricting. It's getting smaller. It's not expanding, it's constricting. It's getting smaller and going back down. So even though this thermometer isn't going to tell us exactly what the temperature is, it is going to be able to tell us if the air temperature is warm or cold based on what is happening with the rise or the fall of the water. Pretty cool. I'd love to see some videos and some pictures of your homemade thermometer today.